This is Steve from Boxing UK in association with Supreme CBD. Delighted to be joined in Liverpool by Eddie Hearn. Eddie, last time we saw you was in the bowels of Tottenham Hotspur.
Was it? Yeah, that was a shame. Yeah.
You said AJ yesterday was sulking. How have you been since?
Yeah, sulking. Like when I say sulking, I mean you should be sulking. You know, I'll be sulking. Any time something doesn't go to plan, you should be sulking. You should be angry. And he was. You know, he. I hate to keep saying he didn't get it right or he boxed the wrong game plan, because you're not really giving Usyk the credit for his brilliant performance. But we know how much better he can do, and that was the thing that he's angry about, is that he didn't perform to the potential that he should have done. And he believes he can beat Alexander Usyk, and that's the game plan to go away. But he's starting to, you know, there hasn't been one day with AJ. You know, with a lot of fighters, they'll go, right, do you know what? Fuck it, I'm going on holiday, or I'm going down the pub, or I'm going to a nightclub, or I'm going away with the lads. All he's done every day is write things down, think about how to improve and what to change.
Do you know if he'll be improving and changing it with Robert McCracken? Because the obvious flack comes, doesn't it?
Yeah, always. The flack comes always. You know, the praise never comes, does it? When he wins a world title, when he wins Olympic gold, when he beats Vladimir Klitschko, the praise never comes on Rob McCracken. But when something goes wrong, everyone will point a finger at the trainer. So there's a lot of things to talk about. You know, he has to take some of the responsibility. He's in there doing the fighting. But I just think the one thing I didn't want him to do in that fight was overthinking. And he did. He really did. And he felt, for some reason, that he could outbox Usyk. And even though he was told, don't try and outbox Usyk. But that's a mistake. And, you know, he'll live with that and he'll come back stronger.
Can I give you the right to reply to a couple of things before we move on to today? Oscar De La Hoya.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw it, said that you'd ruined AJ's career.
I know, apparently, yeah. I mean, what a terrible career he's had. You know, biggest star in boxing, two-time heavyweight world champion. That was a bizarre thing with Oscar, you know. But it's difficult because Oscar's like one of my favourite fighters. And I like Golden Boy. Like, we've just made 3 world championship fights with him. They'd never do that, by the way, because he wouldn't allow it. And then he gave us a quote for a press release, which basically said, "I'm so happy to be working with Matchroom Boxing." It's like, so I don't know. I just said, look, I hope he gets happy and healthy, and you know, I don't want to start going backwards. I'll just watch him and Dana go at it, you know. But it's probably good for my profile in America, so hopefully he'll carry on.
Indeed, and a certain Mr. Fury's offered to train AJ because he can guarantee he'll beat Usyk in the ring.
Everyone can. Yeah. Oh, you wouldn't believe how many calls we've had from people who definitely know the way to beat Alexander Usyk. So thank you for the offer. And like 99% of them are also telling us they know how to do it. Fuck off, and we'll do our own thing and come back and win the fight.
Indeed. As we said, we started here in Liverpool. This is your best domestic show you've ever put on?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, when you do a show where even you know. Scrolling through Twitter like you do, you recognise people's handles. You know, the ones that just give you abuse all day long. Yeah. And then you do a post about Fowler and they say, fair play, this is a cracking show. So to be fair to those people, if you get it right, they will give you the credit. And how can you not get the credit for this show? One of the best shows, top to bottom, we've ever put on. I love the main event. I think it's a cracking fight. Cheeseman against Metcalf, brilliant. Conway against Metcalf, brilliant. Cheeseman against Williamson, brilliant. This Shannon Courtney fight is a tough fight against Jamie Mitchell. Peter McGrail debut, Solomon Dacres, Sokolowski, great fight. Willis against Charlton. You know, from about 5 o'clock on Saturday, just clear the diary and make sure you're ready for this show.
A little bit of bone of contention from Liam's trainer as to exactly how this fight was made.
Yeah.
Can you clear it up, Eddie?
Pretty much he was right, really. I mean, he said that they called our blood. No one wanted it other than me. I'm not sure that's the case. Certainly no one thought about it apart from me. And I didn't even think about it, to be honest with you, because Liam Smith had just been robbed against Kurbanov. He wanted to fight Jesse Vargas. He was coming off a loss. There wasn't really the money there for that fight. Fowler was dying for a big fight, but he was talking about Cheeseman and Fitz and Garcia. And then I literally went on BoxRec and I was just scrolling through thinking, I was actually studying on Fowler. Who can we make Fowler against? And I looked at it, number 1 was Liam Smith, number 2 was Anthony Fowler. I just thought, fucking hell, what are we doing? That's a massive fight. And everyone went to me, they'll never take that. I said, well, we should ask. So I dropped it into an interview and he weren't happy, Liam. You know, he actually felt quite offended that I'd suggested he should fight Anthony Fowler. And when I spoke to Shane and Fowler, they were like, oh man, thought about Liam Smith. And then when I talked to him about the money, and how this was a great fight for their profile and their career. If you think you can win, I said to both guys, if you think you can win, trust me when I say this is the right fight for you. And Liam said, all right. And then Anthony said, all right then. And people talk about, oh, he didn't want it, he didn't. Like, it was very samey across the two of them. But neither of them expected it, but both accepted it. And it just shows you when you get it right. Sometimes it's right in front of you, isn't it? You know. And now you make it and it's sold out. And you think it's obvious. But when we announced it, everyone went, fucking hell, wow, where's that come from? Where really we should be going, well, why don't you put them two with each other? So when you get it right, it works, boxing. And we got it right Saturday.
I think it's fair to say no one can criticise this one, Eddie. Would this card have been possible without Dazn?
No, not in a million years. Not in a million years, because I'm paying these two a lot of money. And it's the only way they take the fight. And it's not a pay-per-view fight. So therefore, you can't say, oh, we haven't got the money to make it on Sky, so therefore, let's put it on pay-per-view, because it's not a pay-per-view fight. But it's a brilliant Saturday night main event that the only way you make it happen is with money. Couple that with a purse bid I won for Cheeseman Williamson, a world title fight with Courtney Mitchell, Conway against Metcalf, another fight that I overpaid for because I loved it. Like, why would Metcalf fight Conway? Why would they fight each other with nothing on the line? The answer is because I'm telling you, winner stays on, and I'll give you a load of money. So they go, all right then. That's the ability that I have now. So when I don't necessarily make great cards, or I should get criticised more, because previously I felt like my hands were tied a little bit because there was only so much I could do. Now I don't have that excuse. And this is, you're seeing the result of it, you know.
A couple of quick ones before we go, Eddie. I know you've already been asked about Fury Wilder. Just a slightly different angle. We asked you about Frank Warren wanting AJ to win. And you said, did his nose grow when he said that?
Yeah.
Do you want Fury to win on Saturday?
I do. And, I mean, I've got a bit of history with Deontay Wilder. Like, still can't believe they turned down the offer from Dazn to fight AJ. But they did, so it is what it is. I prefer Tyson Fury as an individual. And he's British. So why wouldn't I want him to win? I don't have any, now with the Dillian White ruling, I really want Tyson Fury to win because that's a massive all-British fight. So, and I think he will win. But I like what I saw yesterday from him. I think he looked like he was dialed in yesterday, and I think he's been a little bit away with affairs. He looks focused, and hopefully he gets the win.
Talking about yesterday, did you not fancy a Bob Arum moment yourself today, Eddie?
I loved it. Brilliant. Bob's a character. Like, you need characters in sport. And Bob Arum is one of the biggest characters. Like, that clip and all those interviews have gone viral. Therefore, that's great for the show. That's what we do. We're promoters, we're showmen, we're clowns at the circus. So let us play. Don't have, no security on the stage or no promoter or just a reporter asking questions. The promoter's job is to sell this thing to the world. And Bob's really good at doing that. He's one of the greatest promoters of all time. The Coppinger stuff was hilarious. He shouldn't have said what he said about Kate Abdo, but it is what it is. And that's what he does. He makes controversial statements. He upsets people. He'll say whatever he wants because he's 90 years old and he couldn't care less. And I hope when I'm that age, I won't make that age, but it's nice to be able just to go, I don't give a fuck about it. He don't care. He will slag off his own fighter in front of you. You've seen it. This guy wants this much money. He ain't worth that much money. I mean, he doesn't care. So there's no filter with Arum, but a great promoter.
Last one. You mentioned about the ruling with Dillian White. Can you just explain exactly what that is? And have you any more news on the October 30th card?
We're waiting on the exact news. The news we see last night was that if after the Fury Wilder fight, the winner will have 30 days to negotiate with Alexander Usyk for an undisputed fight. Impossible, because Alexander Usyk is under contract to fight Anthony Joshua. Therefore, the winner will fight the interim world champion, which is Dillian White. So obviously the Wilding fight is a big fight, and we wait official news from the WBC on that ruling, because it's a legal situation that Dillian White's dealing with, but it looks like finally a step in the right direction.
And any news on the card? Is it still going ahead? Because is there a chance Dillian might not want to take that now that he's next?
I think that when you look at the sort of time frame of the fight, Tyson Fury's going to fight on Saturday. We're in October, so any next fight for Tyson Fury is February, March. That's a year since Dillian White's fight. He needs to fight. So, it's a dangerous fight, but he's got to get in the ring.
Eddie Hearn, thanks for your time.
Cheers.